Alright, so it's the 30th of July, 2014, and I'm just gonna film my bike ride to work. I try and film one of these videos about once a month, and I filmed one for June, and I haven't yet done one for July, and tomorrow is my last chance to do it, so the weather seemed nice enough today. So I decided I'd film it today. So it's about around 8:20 in the morning. I'm a little bit behind schedule this morning, but should still get to work on time. The temperature today is fairly mild. We've had quite a mild summer actually. We really haven't had any extended long extreme heat waves. In my opinion, it's been a really great summer in terms of the weather. Today I didn't look at the thermometer, but I would assume it's around 16 or 17 Celsius, and it's been like that pretty consistently. It hasn't gone over 25 very much. 25 is about the warmest that it's been on average. So I'm just crossing Yonge Street here at the crosswalk, and that gets me over to a north-south street over here called Duplex, which is what I take for a majority of my ride north. I ride from the Yonge and Eglinton area of Toronto up to North York Centre near Yonge and Sheppard. And today I'm going to be riding pretty much my typical route. There's a little bit of a detour. One of the roads that I take is not, it's under construction right now, and well, maybe I will still ride it. I'll have to decide. But the road's still open. It's not paved at the bottom of the hill, so it's fine if I go slowly on it, but usually I just bypass it because you never know if it'll be being worked on by the construction workers at the moment. So last one of these videos that I filmed was when I was on my trip in the Netherlands. It was my video that I filmed right in Amsterdam, which is like the most cycle-friendly city in the world. And it was really cool being able to ride around in that, and I'm really glad I got to make a video to share it with, those of you that enjoy watching my videos. In Toronto, I just heard on the radio this morning that they are officially opening the new bike lanes that they built this summer, which are on Richmond and Adelaide. Richmond and Adelaide are two east-west streets that go through the center of the downtown core, and they're both one-way streets. So what they've done is they've taken up one of the lanes that was used previously for cars, and it's just a bike lane, and it's got a little bit of separation between the bikes and the cars, and they've been working on those all summer, and they're just officially opening them now. As you can see, this road is still under construction. They still have these big pits in the ground where they're replacing the water mains. Technically this road is only, for this section here, it's only open in the direction that I'm traveling right now. And if you go the other way, there's, do not enter signs, but still lots of traffic does disobeys those signs. And I do too, when I'm on my bike. Because there's still, I mean, there's only one lane, but it's a wide lane, and if you're just riding a bike, you can squeeze past, and often I ride on the sidewalk for those sections as well. But I'm certainly looking forward to them to getting those holes closed up and get the road fully open again. Although I noticed as soon as they dug those holes that this road got significantly less busy because all the cars were rerouted, or many of the cars took different routes to avoid the delays. So I won't be looking forward to seeing all the extra traffic on here again, but it'll be nice not having those obstacles to go around when I'm riding home. Alright, so we're just approaching Lawrence Avenue right now, and as we were riding I could see ahead of me that it was just green and it turned red, so it'll be a bit of a wait. Just press the cross button there. So yeah, I was mentioning Richmond Adelaide, which is the new bike lanes downtown. And hopefully I'll get a chance to be able to take my bike with the camera and everything downtown, and I'll be able to show some of those new bike routes that are down there. Of course, I haven't even ridden them myself, so I'll have to check them out a little bit, and then I can share them, and I can share some other downtown routes, because downtown has probably so far it has the most, bike lanes and bike infrastructure compared to the rest of the city. So there'll be lots to show down there. We'll have to do that on a weekend day or something though, because I don't work downtown. Many people that live in Toronto, in the area where I live, they live up north of the downtown, and they commute south down to the downtown, but I commute north to the downtown of North York instead. Another video that I posted fairly recently was my dad's daily commute out in the suburbs. And that was a pretty cool video. For me, that was my first time, getting to see the rides that he does each and every day. Of course, I grew up in Whitby, and I've ridden a lot of those streets, but never, at that time in the morning, or, in a continuous stretch like that. A lot of the comments were saying, how amazing it was that there's those nice big roads and virtually no traffic on them. And I was quite amazed by that too. But I think the one thing that wasn't really mentioned in the video was that my dad goes to work quite a bit earlier than I do. He leaves the house at about 6:15 in the morning. So by this time of the year, it's already pretty bright at 6:50 in the morning. I guess you could see in the video that the sun was rising right up into where the camera was pointing for a lot of the video, but it's already quite bright by 6:15. And but being that it's so early, a lot of the people are still in bed and the cars haven't started moving yet. So that's part of the reason why those roads are pretty clear. But of course, a lot of it's route selection as well, being able to pick the roads that that you don't expect will have very much traffic on them. But anyways, after that video, I was curious if I filmed this video, You know, if I filmed my own route leaving at, you know, 6:15 instead of 8:15, how different it would be. And I mean, at that hour, Yonge Street might be, you know, quite clear as well, so I'd be able to just ride straight up Yonge and have hardly any traffic to contend with. All right, so we turned there. Duplex changes names; it becomes called Deloraine after we cross Lawrence. So I follow along. Sorry, Duplex becomes Jedburgh after Lawrence, and I followed Jedburgh up until this road here, which is called Deloraine. And now I'm heading to the east and meeting back up with Yonge Street. And I'm just gonna ride on the sidewalk for a little bit through here, just to get me to this intersection, this traffic light. There's a traffic light intersection of Yonge Street and Yonge Boulevard. And to the right there, you can see the, straight ahead, you can see the Loblaws, which is a grocery store that I frequent fairly often on my way home from work. All right, so up here is the construction that I was talking about, where I usually take a detour. So it's on the street that I take, which is called Don Woods Road. I guess they did a big sewer upgrade at the bottom of the hill, storm sewer, and so they dug up all the pavement. They dug a huge hole in the ground, and they haven't finished paving it back over yet. So I kind of think it would be worth going down there just so I could share that. Doesn't look like there's anything going on right now, so why don't I go down here? Every other day in the last few weeks, I've just gone straight down Yonge Street there and reconnected up with, you know, this route at the bottom of the hill. But I'm going to go down this hill, but of course slow down early because there's only gravel at the bottom of this hill. And hopefully no construction right now, because I don't want to have to climb back up this thing. Yeah, looks like we're clear. There we go. So here we go, this is what I was talking about. So soon hopefully they'll make the curves for this and put new asphalt down, and then I'll be able to ride this route again. But a few weeks ago, where I am right now, it was just an enormous hole in the ground. It went down like maybe 5 or 6 meters. It was a huge hole, and they put a huge big concrete sewer pipe in there. Person's blocking the entire road. More than just their own lane. Alright, so at the bottom of the hill, which means we gotta climb right back up again to the other side. So as you saw a few videos ago, I posted a video of when I rebuilt my back wheel of my bike, of this bike here. So that bike was actually out of commission for over a month. I mean, I was on vacation for part of it, so that wasn't too bad or much of a problem, but I wasn't able to ride this bike for quite a while, and I was certainly missing this bike by the end of it. My backup bike is a mountain bike, which, you know, it has road tires, or at least at the front tire is a road tire, and it does okay on the road, but it's still noticeably slower and heavier than this bike, which is my hybrid bike. But so the back rim had a crack in it around one of the spokes, and I believe that was caused from corrosion from the salt in the winter. After I looked at the first one, after I noticed the one where it actually cracked, I looked at some of the other spoke holes in the rim, and they looked like they were going to do the same thing as well. So I'm glad I replaced the whole rim. But it took me a while, you know, to get all the parts and everything to do it. Actually replaced quite a few of my spokes as well, because many of them were badly corroded from the winter. But hopefully the new wheel and the new rim and the new spokes hopefully will be a bit more corrosion resistant, because I don't want to have to rebuild my wheel every year, because of course I'll be riding it in the winter. Alright, so we're approaching York Mills Road, and this is where I have to make a crossing of the road where there's no traffic signal or anything like that. So I'm just patient, and I wait for the coast to be more than clear, so it's nice and safe. Sometimes it only takes about 5 seconds for it to be clear. Other times it takes significantly longer, like upwards of almost 5 minutes sometimes. And if I can see that there's a long string of traffic, like there's some kind of a holdup or something, then I expect that, you know, I'm not going to see a clearing, and I just go up to the right and take the traffic light. And I have shown that actually in 2 of my videos before, I believe. Alright, I think we got a clearing right here. Perfect. Last week I saw somebody that appeared to be new to riding their bike to work, and they were using that same intersection to cross, and they were waiting to cross in the right lane, and there was a bunch of cars that were waiting to turn right, and they couldn't get past, and they were honking at her, and they were making a big fuss, which I guess I learned a little bit at the beginning too. Since cars are only allowed to turn right at that intersection, if you're going to go straight through, you want to wait in the middle of the lane to give them, you know, space to be able to turn right around you and not hold them up. So right now we're heading north, going, basically this road goes pretty much parallel to Yonge Street. This is actually called Old Yonge Street. I changed the names up ahead here though. So our total distance so far is about 5.5 kilometers. And my moving time, it's taking me about 18 minutes of riding, which gives me an average speed, at least a moving average of only 18.7, so I haven't been moving too quickly today. It really is hard to get too much of a, high speeds going on Jedburgh and Duplex, because there's those stop signs every block, basically. Basically every block there's a stop sign. And I don't necessarily make a complete stop at all the stop signs, but I do always slow down and look both ways. And, you know, going through those intersections, my speed is never extremely high, so definitely a slower sort of a pace that you have to take if you're riding those kind of roads. But I certainly do feel safe riding on that as opposed to riding right on Yonge Street. Alright, so this road I think is called, I forget the name of this road, but meets right back to the 401, which is our major highway, and I take a sidewalk which goes underneath the 401, and go across here. And here we go under the 401. Oh yeah, something else I wanted to mention is that when I do these daily commutes, I use an app on my phone, which is called the Toronto Cycling app. And it's something that was launched at the beginning of this summer by the bicycling infrastructure division of the city. And you know, just kind of your typical satellite kind of app which tracks your route and tells you, you know, your speed and your distance and stuff like that, how many calories you burned approximately and your CO2 offset and stuff like that. So it does that kind of stuff, but the real reason in my mind for using that app is that when you take a trip on your bike, at the end of it, there's an option to, you know, submit that trip to the city. And so with people all over the city riding their bikes all over the place and submitting their routes that they've taken to the city, it gives the city a whole lot better idea of where people are actually riding and, you know, the sort of places that it makes sense to put in better cycling infrastructure. So I use that every day, and I log, you know, every trip that I do, I log on this app, and it gets sent in. And basically right now they're in the process of developing, you know, their new you know, kind of 5-year plan or 10-year plan or whatever, however many year plan that they do, of where it makes sense to have bike infrastructure. So you know, it's to your own advantage to use this app as much as possible, because it's the roads that you ride on that you're sending in. So you know, the more that you log your own route, the more likely it is that they're going to do improvements to those roads. So I just thought I'd mention that if you're living in the Toronto, in the city of Toronto. It's called the Toronto Cycling app, and it's available for the Apple iOS or the Android mobile operating system, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to work now. We're heading north again after that little piece of east direction through those large condos. As you can see, there's a one there right before I turned left. There's a big condo at the end that's really lots of glass on it. That one has been under construction for the last year or so, and they're pretty much done it now. So if you look at my earlier commuting videos, like from back last September, you'll only see just a small piece of a building there compared to the finished product that's there now. Yeah. So we're just approaching Sheppard Avenue here. which is where I gotta cross to the other side to get to where my office is. It's got a green light, so I try and catch that. Make a left turn here. Left turn onto the sidewalk. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed following along with my commute to work, and you know, doing these videos, I'm always hoping that it'll help inspire others to consider riding their bike to work, or you know, using their bike as a more regular mode of transportation. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.